Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Painting and Poetry from Panties and Bras. This painting that I painted, as you can see, is the same picture from the last segment, the mother-in-law drama segment, but the painting is turned to a symbol of a fish. The first one was a vase or vase, and this one is a symbol of fish or infinity. So, and I put that up today because I hope I'm saying something classic and timeless and special that will just help a lot of people in all kinds of situations and all different types of people. The poem I'm going to read for this segment, I have two poems that's dealing with abusive or dysfunctional relationships. The first poem and the second poem is entitled When a Man Yells at Me. This is part one. When a man yells at me, I feel small, almost invisible it seems. I am made to feel stupid and what I think is unimportant to him. When I hear volume in his voice, it's as if he's trying to beat his opinion into me and take control of my thoughts and make them into his own without me. Without even consulting me, without even considering that he could be wrong, without even asking me how I feel or what I think, without even taking me into consideration, I then realize that I'm not even a part of his equation. This man in this room with me is trying to solve our problems without me. How can he do that? I don't know. But it makes me feel so incomplete, disconnected from him, lost in his own dreams and into my illusions, feeling that we have a long road ahead of us, or do we even take the same path after he screams? I'm not even listening to him anymore at this point. I began to contemplate the future of our relationship. I'm 10 paces ahead of him, and I'm about to jump off the moving train. Sensory issues, I suspect or guess. I don't even think about the amount of pain I'm going to feel or be in when I decide to jump from the moving train. I exit before we get to our planned destination. After the relationship and right before it all ends, I go off into the deep end. And I start thinking to myself about him. I wonder, did he grow up yelling at people? Did his parents scream at each other in front of him? Does he think it's okay to yell at me? Is he just angry at something else and taking it out on me? Abusive environments, or maybe it's not that deep. Maybe he just lost his temper because I pushed him too hard. Or maybe I asked too many questions, or the wrong question. I don't know what happened or where all this yelling is coming from, but I do know that it is a form of abuse, and it's not my fault, and I don't have to continue to put up with it. The yelling, the screaming, the loud commotions, cursing, arguing, yelling, fussing, too many heated debates for me. His children are loud and rude. His friends are loud and rude. His mother is loud and rude. Too confrontational for me. Too many dramatic episodes and scenes for me. Too much anger management problems for me. I'm glad that I jumped off the moving train. No pain, no gain, right? Yes, the answer is yes. It was one of the best things that I ever did for me. I no longer have to listen to his yells and screams. And my last poem and the second part of this for this segment is When a Man Yells at Me, part 2. If I would have continued in that relationship, physical abuse was bound to happen. The emotional abuse was already taking place. So what would have stopped him or me from taking it further? I couldn't stand too much more of his yelling. So I know I would have eventually picked up an object and hit him in the mouth or upside his head. I can't physically fight a man and win, So do I take the chance and end up with a black eye or a busted lip? Or do I exit the moving train before it gets any more violent? Leave, ladies. Please leave. The heartaches are not worth the headaches. It's amazing to me how many excuses you make for people that you love, especially for the man in your life. Erupting volcanoes always take people by surprise. I wonder why. Because you heard the rumbling. You saw the smoke come out every now and then. How could you be shaken up and walking around in disbelief when all of the warning signs were there? Hazard and caution lights were flashing in his eyes and in your sight. My theory on relationship failure is simply this. One person in the relationship thinks that they can say or do anything because you are his wife or her husband. Or they think you've invested so much into the relationship that you're not going to leave them when they show you their true self. But the relationship abruptly ends because if he or she would have known the whole truth about you and your family, they would have never got involved with you in the first place. The signs were there that I mentioned earlier, but you didn't know that it was this bad or how fast and furious things could spin out of control. The next thing you know, here comes the police with their flashing lights, handcuffs, and children being traumatized, or even worse, ambulance sirens, screams, and cries from the neighbors. Watching the tragic event on the news, as I hear the whole neighborhood breathe a sigh of relief. Abusive people try to kill your dreams, steal your joy, and destroy your spirit of faith. The killer is caught, the thief is gone, the destroyer is captured. Wow. All of these thoughts and moments of truth came out of one sentence or phrase: when a man yells at me. I hope you have enjoyed the 2 poems in my painting that I shared with you today, and I hope I have said something to help encourage someone that may be in an abusive or dysfunctional relationship. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Paintings and Poetries from Panties and Bras. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.